Hey, what's going on YouTube? We got another video for you today, and we're going to be going over the top 5 things that I would recommend for your GT350, or if you plan on getting a GT350 yourself. Stay tuned. Yeah, I do need to do an oil change, so be prepared for another video going over AMSOIL and why AMSOIL is definitely the best oil to be using on a GT350 yourself, or honestly in any high performance engine, because AMSOIL is proven to definitely be above the other competitors. Let her sit, warm up. Alright guys, the first mod that I'm going to recommend to you is the nGauge. Now the nGauge supports quite a few things for you, and it's definitely a very handy tool. Now I'm currently running E85 on this car, and what I needed to run E85 was an nGauge to allow the tune that I bought from Lund Tuning to be downloaded on the computer for this car. So therefore it would know that I'm running E85, or it's on the tune that I am now for Flex Tune, to know exactly how much time to put in depending on how much alcohol percentage I have. So I'm able to run, if I wanted to, half a 93 and half a E85 with a mixture in my tank, and this will do what it needs to do properly. Now for me, in the last year and a half, or even probably 2 years, I've only maybe put 2 full tanks of 93, and the rest has been E85. So I've been very happy with E85. It's worked for me. The Lund tune I have for this has worked great as well. 91% alcohol content, which is quite amazing. Now it doesn't really do me any good past, I believe, 70 to 75% alcohol content. It'll still perform the same way, but just knowing that I'm having that good of alcohol content coming out is a good thing for me. So I'm happy with that. So let me show you the second mod that I would recommend. Alright guys, so the second mod that I was describing earlier when I was inside the car is the Cold Air Intake. This is from JLT, and with the 2.5 E85, both of those was a beautiful combination. So it looks nice in my opinion, again just from the filter, because it's blue and my car is blue, so I'm happy with that. So that's the second mod that I would recommend. Now moving on to underneath the vehicle, so I can't really get underneath it, but I have 2 different exhaust things that I added to this car, which allowed this thing to even breathe more and to have a little bit more power. Again, this is still an NA car, and a few other mods that I would recommend. Alright guys, the third mod that I would recommend is going to be the resonator delete for this. Now there's quite a few different brands out there for resonator deletes, or you can just literally go to a shop and put pipes in and weld them in. Now for me, this is a Shelby, so I wanted to treat it a little bit more respectfully, so I went with the Corsa double Helix X-pipe resonator delete for this car, and that was the first exhaust mod I did, and very pleased with it. Again, this car is pretty loud from factory, but wasn't loud enough for my liking, so with that it definitely made the car sound that much louder. Alright guys, so the fourth mod I'm going to recommend is a cat delete system for your GT350. The car sounds absolutely amazing, again, from the factory, but again, even after the resonator delete, I really wasn't that thrilled, because again, it did make it louder, but again, I'm a young guy and I could go for a very loud exhaust to be happy with it. So to me, it still wasn't enough, so that's why I went with the cat delete, and I went with the lethal performance. Now, there's other brands out there, again, for even the same thing as the resonator delete, for a cat delete, but I went with a used one for about 150 bucks, And the gentleman here in Michigan had one on his previous GT350, so I was able to sweep that up at a good deal. And so for 150 bucks, I was able to put cat delete system on the GT350. Now this, in my opinion, really opened up the car on the highway. When you're pushing more air through the car in general, you're going to produce more horsepower. And I believe just by doing a cat delete, again, this car still has the stock headers, but even putting that on there with the cat delete, it definitely opened up the car and it just made it very, very loud. So currently what I'm running on the exhaust is the stock headers and then cat delete system that then goes into the aftermarket resonators that I have, which is a Corsa exhaust system for that. And then it goes back into the stock mufflers. I myself live in Michigan, so there's a few parts that I can be wide open throttle and not care, but there's a few parts in Michigan that I want to be quiet and not have the cops want to chase me down. So I still like that feature on the GT350. That's another reason why I bought it, because I can still hit the switch back and forth to be loud and quiet. So I'm going to give you both what it is with the exhaust closed and open. So get prepared. Alright guys, so the fifth mod that I would recommend for you guys is going to be suspension. Now when I added a few components onto this that I just went over, I definitely could tell that the wheel hop that I did kind of have from the beginning when it was stock definitely kind of increased. So the wheel hop, again, not too terribly bad for the 350, not nearly as bad as my 2014 Coyote. Both stock bushings, again, are very soft from the factory. So a lot of people, and again, this is exactly what I would recommend because it does help out a lot, especially when you're really getting on it, to reduce your wheel hop. Now, this kind of reduced most of my wheel hop. Rarely do I have wheel hop anymore. Again, that's with E85, cat delete, and a tune. That in itself, in my opinion, helped bring the car all together with the few mods that I put on. And it's going to be the Steeda IRS subframe support brackets. It has 3 connecting points and it has worked out great for me, and I definitely could tell the improvements right off the bat, especially just even getting on it, you know, from even first to second gear. Even spinning is not nearly as bad, and the wheel hop dramatically reduced. So I would definitely recommend that. I'm gonna see if I can show you where I've put on the car. Obviously you know where it's at in the rear suspension. I'm gonna see if I can show you exactly what I have on here. Thanks for watching another episode of Proper Luxury Productions. Subscribe, stay tuned for more episodes. I have a few other mods that I'm going to be installing on this car in the next couple weeks, so stay tuned for more videos to come. Again, thank you for watching, and I appreciate your support.